I have a story to tell you. I get more white people up in arms, pissed off at me because they say, you don't get to talk for Black people. And I'm like,
Right.
you little dumb shit. No, I'm just kidding. I'm like, I'm not talking for Black people. I'm talking to white people. I'm talking to
Right.
you. And they get very upset. They're the racist ones that get upset.
Right.
They say, you can't talk for Black people. I'm like, not. I learned from Black and brown and indigenous people and African American people. And they get so mad because
But this is the question. If right, if it was coming out of one of us, would they even listen? So that's the point.
they don't want me to
You
talk.
don't want, right. You don't want white people talking about it, but you also don't want Black people talking about it, but then you don't want white people talking about it. So
Right.
the thing about it is it's the circular hypocrisy of it.
That's who gets the most mad at me. They say,
Yeah.
you don't get to talk for Black people. I say, I don't talk for Black people. Do you read my show? Do you read the objectives of my show? What the seriously, But that's what because they want to get really mad. And I think you're right. I think it's because they don't want to hear Black people talking about it. And they certainly don't want the race
No,
reader talking about it. But I say,
no. And the
that's
reason why they don't want you
not,
talking about it is because they know that white people will listen to you before they listen to me. I mean, what I'm saying is they may not listen to you either, but what I'm saying is
right.
it's going to get through to them when they see somebody that looks like them talking versus me. So let's not be deluded in the fact that yes, we listen to Black people. Since when? Since when? So
Well, yeah, it's you know what? It's kind of interesting. When I first started going on and doing videos, I thought this is a job, this is a something that I will, if I am successful at all, I will work my way out of ever doing. Because honestly, people who are white need to learn from, use as mentors, listen, learn, glean
right.
from Black and brown and African American people and people who are melanated people. Talanda, welcome, welcome, welcome.
Hey.
Hello. So it's like I should, if I was good enough, I would do myself out of I just do nothing. But
Yeah, but the thing about it is okay, so this is your show, the Angry Soccer Mom show, right?
yeah,
I found you on Facebook, and I think my husband watched you. That's how I started watching you. So don't think anything that you're doing is bad. There's a lot of people out there doing the same thing that you're doing. And the fact of the matter is like this. You know how we have like little seeds here and there, little seeds. And if you start throwing seeds at all of this soil, somebody's seed is going to catch. Like
yeah,
there's a lot of
that's
shows. You understand what I'm saying? There's a lot of shows like the Rational National, the Damage Report. There's other people out there doing the same thing. But there's one thing I can say: I have never seen a show like yours where they specifically. I have never seen a show besides talking about with Jane Elliott and Tim Wise, where they're talking to white people. It's about political situations and political situations around white people. There's situations like with Roland Martin where he talks about crazy white people.
yeah, I
And then
love that.
right, and then you have Dr. Rashard Ritchie, and he's talking about these crazy Karens and being anti-Karen.
Yeah.
Right, but there's not a show that I know of that is talking from a white woman to other white people about white people.
And that's what
Now,
I do. That's what I want to do.
now the Jesse Dollamore show, he does that, but that is not his whole thing is not that. It's political and how racist they are, but he does call them out. So what I'm
Mhm.
saying is give yourself a round of applause. And I'm gonna tell you
Oh,
why.
stop.
No, I'm gonna tell you why. Because at the end of the day, there's less people like you out there that has um the 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 courage and the persistence to do what you do.
Well,
It
you're
gets
very
tiring.
You're very
Because
sweet.
I used to, I remember
And
I told you I used to do it and I stopped.
here's my bottom line is I don't think, oh, I'm special. For some reason, since I was 6 years old, this has just been like haunting me. I don't know what, and if nothing else, I will have a white person. I speak to white people. That's what I say. I speak to white people. If you aren't white, you can listen to. I'm just saying. I started the show by saying, I get more crap and hatred from white supremacists who say you can't talk for black people. I'm like, I'm not talking for black people. It's like, do you even know the objectives of my show? I'm trying to help educate white folks. If nothing else, I talk to white people. They will see a white person talking about racism, and every day I somehow survive through it. T, you're very sweet. But
But
you know,
see, this
that's
is
all.
the thing. If you were talking about black people, you would be rich right now. Understand that. If you were a conservative pundit like Lord Ingram, Candace Owens, and all those other harpies, you would be rich right now because that's what America wants to see.
They want to hear lying sacks of shit. Sorry.
Right. And no, you're right. But this is what you got to understand. It's just like police. If you can't understand that we're protesting police brutality versus the police, then that means what? It's baked in there.
You just don't want to understand. Right.
And it's
you just
baked
don't want to.
into there.
Right.
If you don't want to understand that we're not talking about white people, new whites and old whites, and we're talking about white supremacy, which garners everyone, then you don't want to know, and you are part of white supremacy. So at the end of the day, Kim, just like she said, Tucker Carlson, exactly. And let's talk about that, because this is the thing. What Tucker Carlson does, Tucker Carlson used to be on CNN. Tucker Carlson is a part of the elitist class. Tucker Carlson is the heir to the Swanson fortune. Tucker Carlson is crap. He used to wear a bow tie. Remember that?
He's completely full of shit. I don't know how he lives with himself. I don't know how the mayor doesn't crack. Don't even go there. But yeah. So my bottom line is, by watching, I do it for beginners. This isn't like advanced. Really, this is for beginners. But also the other thing I do that I kind of brought out today is, hi Kingston, welcome. Is that somebody complained to me once and said, oh, you just let black people bitch on your show. And I said, are you talking about I have a supportive environment where black people can actually speak the truth? Is that what you're trying to say? I mean, and they're like, no, of course they weren't going to say yes to that. But I said, I want a place where black folks feel comfortable and good and can express themselves. And white people can see, I'm talking to a black person. I'm not trying to be rude, but it's like, I want people to the white folks to get this. And so, yes, it's a place to cathartic. Yes, it's a place to speak.
Well, that's the thing. You're not supposed to give. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Conservative, you have to look at it like this, right? If white people can't take up every space, it's a problem. See, that's the thing. It's not about you giving us a voice. We have a voice already. It's just the fact that they're not listening, and they're never going to listen. But at the end of the day, you got to remember, right? With this CRT thing, right? White people don't understand. No, they do.
Don't want
to. Erasing, they understand. When they're erasing history, they're erasing themselves too. You know why? Because all of these good white people that they said, oh, ended slavery or did this, you're erasing them too, that are completely incongruent with what you're talking about. You understand what I'm saying?
Absolutely. Yeah, that's true.
And they don't mind that. They don't mind erasing themselves.
Just like the pools. It's just like the pools.
Yes.
Even if we can't swim in the freaking pool, as long as you can't swim in the pool, that's all that matters.
Right.
Just like the school the school at Little Rock. They closed the damn school because that's how much we won't let our kids go to school. If they have to go, that's crazy. We'll go against our own best interests.
Yeah.
It's the same damn thing.
And that's the thing. The reason that this is the thing, you know, you said at one point in time that you had wanted me on the show and all of this. But this is the thing. At that point in time when we were talking, honestly, I didn't feel like I had anything to say. So what am I going to say to people that don't know already? But then when I seen what you were doing, because you weren't talking to us for the most part, you're talking to them. And then it gives that situation where it's like, okay, you have somebody that was in the military, so which is very conservative, very right wing, white wing to be exact. The fact that it's male dominated. But the thing about it is they don't want to hear that from a black person. They'd rather hear from what Candace Owens says, Terrence K. Williams, Tim Scott. You know why?
They'll pick anybody who's the aberration. Anybody.
Right. They don't understand that Candace Owens and then them are outliners. Like the black community has turned them out. We don't, I mean, I don't associate myself with anybody that's like Candace Owens.
Of course not. I mean, it's the whole thing's just, we'll pick that one person in a gazillion, you know. I go with the stats, but thank you so much. It's tough because I'm older and I'm not particularly a great speaker or writer, but I have a lot of passion and I am the real thing. So
but that's the thing.
If it helps one person,
the thing about it is this is what you're doing about it. The fact of the matter is that the fact of the matter is that you're doing it. And 9 and 10 times when you and I talk, it's about this.
Absolutely.
So I forget who said it, but it was like, I want to be a poet. You'll be a poet when you suffer more, or when anytime you wake up, you're thinking about poetry. You wake up like this, just like Beyonce said, I woke up like this. You wake up like this.
Today I finished my book. Okay. I finished my oh my God, Elijah Cummings. Okay. I took I stripped the cover off, and I'm not saying, oh yeah, me, but I'm saying you're completely right. I did that. I watched a gazillion videos. I finished my course in cultural competency, my part 1. I got ready for this. There's nothing more. I yelled at a few kids, probably. That has nothing to do with it. But the bottom line is, there's nothing I would rather be doing.
And that's what makes you, because you have a lot of these political pundits that talk about certain things. These race and they're not race baiters. They race pimps, where they are making money. No, seriously, you got the LGBTQ Inc., you got the Racism Inc., and they get money from this. So of course everybody's gonna look at that. Tucker Carlson knows that racism, white fear, and white rage pays. If I was sitting up here right now and as passionate as I am as on the other side, I would be a millionaire by right now.
Oh, absolutely. They want to get it right. They don't want to hear the truth. Very good.
Right. But thank you, Tawanda. I love seeing you too, sweetie pie.
I'm going to read that. T says, Anna, I literally jumped for joy when I saw your comments or heard your voice when you would call in. Remember before you came on?
Yeah,
I did too, but I tried to stay contained because I'm supposed to be all just kidding. But Kim, like you're aw, T, you are wonderful. T, you're amazing. Thank you so much.
You are.
Thank you. That makes me feel really good. Well, thanks for discussing that. Let's get started.
Let's get started.
Put the show on the road. There's been a lot going on. Oh my God. Welcome to Real Talk with Angry Soccer Mom and Anastasia. Welcome. And if you are here watching, please say hi. It's a participatory show. It really is. And T, I love that you're jumping in because that's what it's supposed to be. And welcome, Kingston. You have not seen your name, or if I have, please forgive me. Thank you for being here. Cameron. I don't know who you're talking about, but I just hope it's me. No, I'm just kidding.
Talking about you. You're sexy.
Oh, stop. Oh, stop. But let me just see. Okay. Normally, normally, the I gotta read that. Hang on. Going back. Oh geez. Okay, trying to make me okay. All right. Normally the show discussion topics include anything you feel is newsworthy about racism, anti-racism, really, bigotry, inequality, and corruption in America. And that's everything. But today, another special day. We will be talking about racism and the global military action. And I hope we bring up a few things that maybe you haven't thought of that you can talk to other people about. The show's always meant to be an opportunity for viewers to speak their mind. So people in numerical majority groups, like the big groups, get a feel for what it's like to live with systemic oppression. And ideally, and maybe in like a year, I'll be up in the corner introducing people and I'll just sit and watch and kind of like, because I want the people to be speaking, not this people. No. So the live show is meant to serve as an educational tool and cultural competency, okay, for majority group members. So if we're talking about systemic racism, no, I am not talking to Black people in the sense that I am telling them what to do. That is way out of my lane. That is obnoxious. That is arrogant. That is what else? Ignorant. Yeah, they teach me. Okay, I don't teach them. If you happen to be a person who has more active melanin in your body and want to listen and join in, I'd love it. But I'm not speaking to you as a teacher. You're my teacher. Okay, enough said. So I want people who are experiencing oppression of any type to feel they can air their grievances in a supportive manner. So yeah, we chat here, but we do not debate. Okay, we don't debate. I
don't
do not
negotiate with terrorists.
That's right.
Don't negotiate with terrorists.
Nope. There has to be a controversial issue to debate, and my fellow humans' personal, civil human rights, that's not a debatable issue. So that being said, I will say some quick announcements. Kingston Creek Jr., when George Floyd was killed, that Candace Owen brought up his past, like that merited him to be killed. Oh my God, that's so disgusting. It's disgusting. I don't care who it is. Now, you guys are going to hate me. I don't care if it's a freaking known pedophile. I don't care if it's a murderer. No, police are not to be judge, jury, and goddamn executioner.
I agree with you. This is the thing. So it doesn't matter. This is the thing. Let's look at Elijah. You know who I'm talking about.
Yes,
oh my God.
The little boy who was autistic and
right. Elijah. What was his name?
His last name.
Oh, but Elijah.
I know exactly what you're talking about. They know what I'm talking about.
But Elijah, he used to play the violin for cats, right? So now you're saying it doesn't matter how violent or gentle you are, because this black skin, it doesn't matter. LaMelo Parker was killed in May, right? He was a baby. He was 4 months old. So what are you talking about?
Yeah.
So what are you talking about? So, and who was resisting arrest? George Floyd wasn't a resisting arrest
when he was murdered. Right.
They lied about that. He was not resisting arrest. They sat him, they brought him outside. Elijah McClain, thank you. Elijah McClain was walking. He was walking by himself with a ski mask on. And this is the thing, I want to know who made that phone call, because I hope that person that made that phone call never gets a day of sleep, ever. Now, my question is, what about Aiyana Jones? Aiyana Jones was 7 years old, killed in her own house, or people that are killed in their house sleeping. You know what I'm saying? So
they do. They existed.
They existed.
while black.
Remember Charles Kinsley? And he was on the ground, his hands up, and the cop shot him anyway. because remember he had an autistic client.
Oh, got it. As a special ed teacher,
Huh?
I was just as a special ed, I'm a special ed teacher.
Right.
I'm like, oh my God. I mean,
yeah. Remember, the guy had a truck, and somebody called the cops, and they shot him 3 times. And the thing about it, that cop got off on that, saying that he didn't break any of his constitutional rights.
Don't even get me off topic. I will start talking about that. George Floyd was let's see, what I wanted his now question stomach and handcuffed. He was right. He was no longer a threat. What could he have done? He was on it, right. All the cops needed to do. Yeah. Thank you, Kingston. I can't even read it, but yes, and yes.
You're talking about Tamir Rice.
Yep, Camden. Remember the kid that was shot in the park? Oh my God! Along with the toy gun. Tamir, oh, that's okay, Kingston. No problem. I'm the worst. But here's the thing with the little boy Tamir. Okay, can I just please say, this is what killed me with his case, and I know it's such a stupid little detail, but this just everything did, but just
right.
The person who called it in said it's a child.
Said it
with something that's I think they said it's a fake gun.
They told him it was.
It's a fake gun. You know that game called, that telephone game where you sit around in a circle and you whisper?
Right.
Where does that break down? It breaks down about the moment they said it was a black child, okay? I'll just say that's about it.
Did you see the video after he killed him and how they tackled his sister?
I did not.
Oh, yes. There's a video. There's a video. Yeah, there's a, you know how, because they had the video of when he shot him. The car was still rolling. He shot him within 2 seconds.
Oh, yeah, I know the timing was less than
2 seconds.
Yep.
So then there's another video of when his sister sees her brother dead on the ground. He tackles her, handcuffs her, puts her in the car. Her brother's on the right side next to her window. So at this point, she's in the car watching her brother bleed out.
That's just, God, do not get me up.
I just want to tell you, anybody that saw the Tamir Rice video, watch what happened. Look up what happened to Tamir Rice's sister after he was killed. And you'll see how disgusting these people are.
And that's very, very common, actually. I've seen that in other videos, not with little kids, though. Yep, Tamir Rice was killed in carrying a toy gun in an open carry state. Yet Kyle, Kingston, you're going to get me triggered. Don't even go there. There's like 50. Rittenhouse was allowed to parade in the street with an assault rifle during a ride, and the cops ignored him. Hey, what's up? I didn't. Oh yeah. Also, the cops did not administer first aid to Tamir, and he was shot. When they don't administer first aid, I'm so sorry. Like that woman, I'm blanking on her name, that just got 2 years in prison for murdering somebody who's a black person because she messed up her taser or her gun.
Yeah, about that.
Honestly, she was freaking out, not helping the person. She knew she made a mistake. It's like, oh my God. I it's okay, Kingston, no problem. I'm getting the gist of it. That was my big thing. Like when I saw it on the tape, like somebody go help that guy. Ronald, welcome.
Hey, Ronald.
Somebody help that man. Like,
yeah, but this is the thing. You have to see them as human.
I know.
Everybody keeps thinking this thing, implied bias, and we need to send them classes. We need to do that. You can't, first of all, you can't fix stupid. Second of all, you can't fix when a person doesn't even see you as a human being. And if they do see you as a human being, they see you as less of a human being than they are. And that goes back into our topic with this thing that's happening in Ukraine. Go ahead.
Pat, welcome. All right, let's get to the topic. Well, first, quick announcements. I am looking desperately to find people who want to collaborate with me. Come on the live show with Anna and I. So if you know anyone, do not be shy. I'm a one-person thing. I'm a one-person show until I got Anna, and all my other stuff I do, I'm a one-person show. So it's me, myself, and I'll take any and all help, any suggestions. I might cry, if you say something mean to me, but I'll suck it up. I want to do better. If you know a platform looking for a white person who, because I'm being pretty real here. Here's the thing. I'm in a business where white people hate my guts and black people don't trust me. And the bottom line is I wouldn't trust me either. I mean, we've only had how many centuries where we've basically been just refusing to treat our fellow humans like humans. So I wouldn't trust me either. So it's really tough because people don't know if I'm genuine, and I get that. So they just have to watch all my rants and know this is a lifestyle. This is not a hobby. But I loved being on that panel with you. And
okay,
that was like so good for me, even though I kind of listen most of the time. That's
right.
That's nothing wrong with that.
Right. I understand what you're saying. The thing about it is with you can, after a little while, you'll see that the person keeps going. Like that show Democracy Now. Like, how many people actually watch Democracy Now? I'm not saying they don't. I'm just saying not a lot of people I know watch it. That doesn't mean that people don't watch it, but it's a lot of older people that watch that show.
Yeah.
And so just because, you know what I mean, I don't watch it doesn't mean. And
right.
I love our audience, and I think they're amazing, and they're so.
I like it personal. I like it personal. Say that again. I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. Say that again. It's so what?
It's they're loyal, and when you have a loyal group of people, they'll follow you anywhere as long as you're doing just and right things.
I just so appreciate it. And it's so funny. A lot of people think like, oh, she's just every single person that RGF Town, welcome. Thanks for being here. I want to get to know everybody personally. Yes, I'm that weirdo. Okay. Like seriously, like I've had friends to my house that I meet in this group, and it's not just like a King, welcome. Yeah, this is not like some sort of hobby that's going on. Anyway, I better shut up and get our show going.
Get on to it, woman.
Let's move it on. Okay, one last thing. Thank you so much for people who are sending me breaking news. I cannot keep up. I appreciate it. Then if you scroll all the way to the top, if you want to send me breaking news, because I can't keep up, please do. Let's start. And I can just put that one more time. This is where if you want to send me a message, if you want to come on, you want to criticize me. No, that you can't criticize me. There it is again. Today's topic. Ann and I are going to talk about racism and global military action in general. But before we begin, I can never shut up. Thank you, Kingston. Oh my gosh, thank you. I can never shut up. I wanted to basically, before we begin the discussion of racism and global action tonight, I wanted viewers to note that I rarely ever talk about the racism that goes on outside of the United States. Tonight I will be the exception. And I don't do it. I couldn't help but notice how I don't do it because there isn't any. It's just we have so damn much here that it's just a lot. Yes. Okay. So yes. I couldn't help but notice. Yeah, it's just what I've chosen to do. Plus, because I live here, there's that. And I see it and So I couldn't help but notice over the last week on American social media, we white folks have been pretty damn eager and swift to point fingers. We are good at pointing fingers at the racism taking place in the Ukraine. And I think it's really important to do that. Absolutely. However, it's as if we have a shortage of mirrors at our disposal here in the US. White supremacy is a major global issue. So don't get me wrong here. But what I wanted to say was, it would seem that white Americans are easily able to pinpoint racism in other nations. Like, boom, yet suddenly have absolutely nothing to say about the systemic racism that we benefit from here. No, I had to say it. I had to say it.
No, but it's the truth. I'm not going to stop what you're saying, but the thing about they're so willing to point out Nazism without leaving the fact that the Nazis learned from us. That's where they learned it from us. They already had their own thing that they were going to do, but the perfected way of doing it. But if there's Nazis here, they're not Nazis. They're just Trump supporters. Oh, did I say that? I'm sorry.
Right? No, you're right though. Call it what you will. Label it what you want. If you don't look at your fellow human who's more active, has more active melanin in their body than you happen to as a human, then I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You might not be putting people, gassing people out, but you sure as hell are destroying lives and causing and perpetuating systemic.
But they did gas people here. That's the whole thing. They did. And this is the thing that kills me about America is that we can talk about Saddam Hussein, we can talk about Gaddafi, we can talk about the Holocaust, but guess what, Kim? We did the same things here. We had concentration camps for Black people after emancipation.
That was Punch Bowl.
But that was only one of them.
Huge one.
Right. There was but then we had concentration camps for Native Americans. What do you think?
Absolutely.
Come on.
Most people don't know about the Devil's Punch Bowl. Did you know that?
Yeah, of course.
It's like unbelievable.
Yeah.
Thousands and thousands. I mean, I've seen such rough estimates. I don't want to get into it.
Go ahead. Proceed, Kim.
So that being said, few people here probably or anywhere I'm not saying we don't cover stuff. I'm not saying we don't point out stuff, but for the love of freaking God, look in the mirror. I mean, geez Louise. A few people would disagree that Russia's unprovoked attack on the Ukraine is horrible. Of course, it's horrible. Yes. Okay. But in today's live show, we're going to dig a little deeper, specifically addressing some very fluid issues that are going on involving racism. And the first one is, in general, our war coverage in the West.
Yeah.
And our war coverage in the West. And I want to hear, Jamie, welcome. I want to hear what you have to say. Yeah, Cameron, Hitler had a picture of Henry Ford. And I know it's, no, he liked, what was that music that he liked?
Are you talking to me?
No, I'm blanking. Hitler liked, I think Hitler liked rap music that wasn't there then.
Do we really care?
Yeah, no, but I'm just saying, no, it had to do with American culture. I just remember.
I'm gonna look it up for you. Go ahead and finish what you're doing, and I'll look it up for you.
Okay. So the coverage in the West, Malcolm X is quoted as saying the media is the most powerful entity on earth. They have the power to make the innocent guilty and to make the guilty innocent, and that's power, because they control the minds of the masses. LaDonna, welcome. Throughout history, we've had some of the deadliest conflicts, particularly in Africa, in the continent of Africa, and they've been frozen out of the mainstream media coverage. We don't even know about them. The ultimate illustration of this is probably the Democratic Republic of Congo that began in the late 1990s when I was, I'm old,
right.
Okay, don't even go there. More than 5 million people died as a result, or a direct or indirect result. And the majority of the deaths were preventable: starvation and disease, my God, in this century, making it at the time, I don't know if it is still now, the deadliest war, mass amount of people dying ever. But most of us remained completely oblivious to it. There's been lack of coverage of highlighting the conflict between the government of Ethiopia and the forces in the Tigray region. The conflict has persisted since November 2020, and thousands of people have died, while more than 300,000 are living in famine. So how do we tell? How do we know if a war or a tragedy is going to be deemed worthy of being covered? And that's something I wanted to talk about. I know.
Well, we already know that.
I know an obvious one. I'm not going to raise my hand for this, but who's your badger? Who's your badger, aka Carrie? Oh, hello, welcome, Carrie back! Yay, you're here! Yay, Carrie back. Sweet. T says hi. T, you're so sweet. How do we determine? Well, you know what? There are a lot of things, but we do know one thing. And we could talk a lot about that. I'm going to use a quote from an article I just read in the New Internationalist. Now, it's from 2012, but it might as well be from today. Now, they prepared this quote trying to explain to us who's deemed worthy as some like just, oh my God, this like completely out of control. I beg to differ. This talks around it. They say wars in Africa are of little interest to the West because they're happening to people who live far, far away, who are too different, living in countries that just don't seem important to us. Honestly, no offense, this is a very sanitized way of saying we just don't give a shit about the lives of Black, brown, and indigenous people or anyone who's impoverished. And that is unsanitized. Okay. So what say you, Anastasia? I mean, let's just be real.
I mean, okay, so you got the video that and when we're talking about Hitler and his music,
we're gonna show
he loved pan-dramatic operas, but he also loved Russian and Jewish music. And guess what type of music the Nazis loathed? Negro music, specifically jazz and swing. Oh. Did you figure that was going to happen?
Wow.
But anyway, it's kind of like the thing with square dancing. Square dancing was made specifically to combat jazz and ragtime. That's where square dancing came from. Now, look up the racist origins of square. Well, everything in this country, this global, it's got some racial twinge to it as usual. But when we're talking about things and the video
seem to lead back to it. Yeah, it does.
Right. It always leads back to racism, whether it's diet or full flavored racism. But the issue is that if it's the people in the video are going to say, oh, these are blonde haired, blue-eyed people. Mm-hmm. This is not supposed to happen here.
Right. Yeah. It's just so overt.
It's overt with it.
Like they're not even trying to.
Right. But why try to? Because this is the thing. The funny thing about it is all of these people were not even considered white when they came to this country. All them, Benjamin Franklin had a famous quote about Slavics and people from East Europe and all of these places, saying that these people are not white. I forget what her name is.
When you invent white, when you invent it, you can tell anyone's.
Right. You can do what you want with it. I forget what her name is.
People from Mexico, they get to be white. They get to not be white. They get to be
exactly. White. And both at the same time. Asian people, they get to be white when they want them to be, and not white when they want them to be. But what I was going to tell you was, I forget what the name of that lady was, the one with Planned Parenthood. You know who I'm talking about.
Oh, I do.
Margaret Singer.
Oh, yeah.
Her eugenics was based on us, but it was also based on them, specifically Polish people and people from Eastern Europe. And that's the thing. It's so funny when they get here, they assimilated into it. But the Irish, the Scottish, all of these Polish people, they were not considered white.
You drop the accent, you throw your culture out the door a little bit here and there, and you are suddenly we decide you're white because we need the numbers. Thomas, I wanted to welcome you to the show. Thank you for being here. Great to have you. Absolutely, Anna. Absolutely. And so I don't like to sanitize things, not to be mean, but just because let's be real.
Yes.
I'm sorry. I loathe bullshit. I mean, what I mean by that is just like people kind of pretending sort of maybe kind of, it's like, no, just say it. No euphemisms. Like, okay, here's an example. The death penalty. Okay. The death penalty, capital punishment. No, we murder our own people. Okay. Let's just say it. Just saying. Okay. So there are multiple reasons and factors that influence whether a conflict gets covered or not. And we all know that.
Yeah.
But let's be real. Just as we have the Black Lives Matter campaign here because people don't get it.
No.
It's this is a microcosm of the entire macro world. And we have been very much a leader in that. And no, we did not invent being racist. No, we did not invent being cruel to our fellow humans. But you know what? I get that excuse from folks, white folks. Well, everyone's doing it. I think, are you fucking kidding me? Oh,
Right.
that's like everyone's doing it. Welcome to have some integrity. Jesus, like that's like what a baby says when they can't take responsibility for their actions. Everyone's doing it. Everyone's done it. Oh, I get this one. That's just the way it is. Well, you know what? When you live in a nation that's developed, based, grown on genocide and on the backs of people you have put in an enslaved status. They were not slaves, they were humans. We forced them in an enslaved status. Of course you think it's natural. It's all we know.
Exactly.
So
exactly.
Proximity. Oh, go ahead.
No, what I was gonna say, because a lot of people don't believe, they always call these people our founding fathers. These dudes were no different than us. This is what Benjamin Franklin said. In writings from the decade, Franklin shared his concerns about the Germans. They weren't as smart as the people already living in the colonies. Those who come hither are generally of the most ignorant, stupid sort of their own nation. I didn't say that. Benjamin Franklin said that about Germans.
Yeah.
They were unable
tribalism thing going on.
Right. They were unable to adapt to local values. Not being used to liberty, they know not how to make a modest use of it.
Yep.
They were endangering New England's whiteness. The Spaniards, the Italians, the French, Russians, and Swedes are generally of what we call a swarthy complexion, as are the Germans also. The Saxons only exerted, meaning that they didn't like them either. But the fact of the matter is, so funny to me how now, right, is how now after World War II, they have assimilated into whiteness and decide that Black people are the problem. And so it's not that I don't feel for the Ukrainian people. It's not that I don't feel. But guess what? I feel more for those Africans that are being treated the way they are right now.
Trying to leave the country, right? And that's what we're going to talk about tonight. And the bottom line is, I don't think either of us are advocating for people to not care about white people. And that's what it might seem like if you've always experienced privilege. It might seem like oppression if you've always experienced privilege. Having other people have the same, not more, just the same, might seem like oppression.
Equity is always oppression. But this is what I'm gonna say to you. You want me to tell you how I feel about this? I'm gonna treat this just like white people treat Black on Black crime. Y'all need to take care of your white on white crime. You need to take care of your people. Maybe if it was some more fathers in the house and more seasoning in your cabinet, y'all wouldn't be at war with each other right now. Yeah, I said it.
Blaming the victim. Yes, that's what we do. Yep, blaming the victim. Yep. Yeah, Cameron says, okay, so you have to remember that when we read writings from Lincoln and Franklin, this is their lifetime of writing, and what they said in their youth is not the way they thought in their greater maturity. Absolutely. And people do have the right, and it's natural that people grow and change. Like I tell people, don't say sorry. Well, some people, right. I tell people, don't say sorry. Don't say sorry for being racist. Show you're sorry over time, through your behavior, consistently, as a lifestyle. Don't say sorry.
See what Who's Your Badger? You see what Who's Your Badger said? The reason why I showed that or read that is because the same things that I just read from Benjamin Franklin is what Trump said about Mexicans, what he said about people in shithole countries. And so this is my whole thing. You said that in his time, he said that. But at the end of the day, they knew it was wrong then, just like they knew slavery was wrong then. We keep
I'm not sure if that's what Cameron's saying or not.
No. I agree with you. I'm just saying I'm never going to give nobody life that talks about Trump. Oh, he was a young 71-year-old when he said that about the Mexicans.
Well, he did a lot of bad things before then too.
No. Right. He was a young 69-year-old when he questioned the birth of the first Black president. Girl, bye.
Yeah, when he tried to get those young boys to be murdered who were
The
innocent.
Central Park Five.
Central Park
He
Five.
was
I mean,
a
yeah, I mean,
young. He was a young 65 when he said that.
right
Benjamin
now,
Franklin was old. Well, he's been old since I've known him.
and I don't know if Cameron's actually. Oh no, I was trying to point out. I don't know
Right.
if he's alluding to say like,
Right.
oh, that was just their time, and because we don't, you and I, we don't go there. We don't
We
go
don't
there. That
go
was
there.
their time.
No.
They've always been abolitionists, always, and they might not
Yeah.
have been the same type as now, and some of them might have had some pretty. We would call them racist now, but they're always John Brown. I mean, hello.
Yes.
He's
John
correct.
Brown is many of people that knew, and I think it was 11 of them that never owned slaves.
Right.
It was
A lot
11
of people.
They never talk about them. They never talk about those dudes.
John Adams didn't.
Right. That's what I'm saying. They never talk about those dudes. They knew what they were doing was wrong. The fact of the matter is, it's just now.
Right.
You said he wasn't a racist. Okay.
Some more statements about Black people in his younger years, but he said, yeah, Lincoln. Okay, Lincoln. People progress and they do change their views. Lincoln's it's a toughie, you guys. People can be incredible writers. They can be incredible leaders. They can be nice people in general,
still be racist.
That's
R. Kelly. Oh my God, R. Kelly. He made some of the greatest music, but he was still a goddamn pedophile rapist. You know what? I don't listen to R. Kelly anymore.
People are multiple things. We're not
right.
Like, that's what binary. We're many things, and that's what kills me about our criminal justice system. You act great for 10,000 years, but you do one crime. Oh, that's it. That defines you, and your life is over. Now, don't get me wrong. You shouldn't be killing and hurting and all that. But I'm just saying, my God, you're treated like you're an animal, not a human.
Right.
And it's like, damn.
They want the phone number, Angry Soccer Mom, and King Gio said he tried to call in. He said he tried to call in, but it didn't go through.
Okay, here, let me just.
And while you're doing that, King Gio, you're right. Because this is the problem. The problem is they expect that from the inferior race. That's the thing. And as long as you keep Africa, if you think about most Black and brown countries, they're in a state of chaos. But why are they exactly Cosby? But why are we having all these countries in a state of chaos? Is because of white supremacy trying to steal their resources.
Yeah, it's very, very complicated. It's not simple, and a lot of it. Oh boy, don't even go there. That's a whole nother time.
Cameron, that's a whole nother subject. But let me tell you something. Those people right there, those smart people that are liberals, tend to be the worst kind of racists.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's a whole bag.
That's a whole
can of worms or whatever. But so one of the things that Lincoln owned slaves? Oh, I didn't know that. I did not know that. Okay. One of the things that I wanted to talk about is, yes, proximity does matter. Your neighbors are having, there's a war next door. Yeah, you might kind of notice more. Okay, sure. Culturally, now we get into some gray areas here because we don't like to get out much here in the U.S. We don't get out much. Okay, no, I believe you. I'm just saying I haven't kept track like I should.
You said the number's not working.
Okay.
But this is the thing. While she's fixing the number, I'll talk.
Try again.
Whoever's trying to. This is the thing. Now, Hamilton, they tried to say Hamilton didn't own any slaves either. But this is the whole thing. He still was in the slave trade. A lot of them had clean hands. So at the end of the day, what I'm trying to tell you, in some way or some, like I wrote up there, 10 out of the first 12 presidents owned slaves. John Adams and son John Quincy.
It's working. Hello. Hello.
Hello, it's Miguel. How are you doing today?
Welcome to the show. Can you turn your radio down, sweetie?
I did turn it down.
Awesome. What's up?
Hello, ladies. Hello.
Hey.
Hey there. What's up?
All right, so I wanted to get something. I want to get something off my chest because this is interesting. Okay. The only reason that nobody covers any news of Africa is because, like I said earlier before, is because it's a black continent. And when there's anything of color, whether it's blacks or Hispanics or Mexicans, they don't cover because to them, we do not matter. All right. I do have empathy for the people of Ukraine. I really do. But to be honest, that's not our problem.
Yeah, I hear you. I personally go ahead, Anna. Go ahead.
And from the beginning of time,
I was just saying that.
It gets to me when I see these people saying our forefathers or our founding fathers. How can you call these people founding fathers when, number one, there were people already here? They just took laws from England and adapted it to America. That's all they did. So how can you say our founding fathers?
Yeah, a lot of people have words with our founding fathers because they feel like it means something paternal, and I totally get that. And it's kind of a complicated thing. I don't really have tons to say on the subject. It's totally up to whatever you feel is right. But I guess my point was simply that people, I mean, it's kind of scary. People can be like what did they say? Like who was it? There's a meme that was going around showing some like person who was like an axe murderer playing the guitar and singing to somebody. It's like you can be a lot of things. Yeah, so it's.
But just put it this way. I'll give you an example. You see a black person kill someone, and it gets all over the news. It gets splattered, and people like Candace Owens says, "Oh, George Floyd had drugs." But you see a white person, you see a white kid goes into a school, starts shooting, gets a little bit of news, and then it dies down, and nothing happens.
Yeah, black people are always killed twice. Their character,
always.
Their character is assassinated afterwards.
And it's ridiculous, and it's getting I'm getting tired of hearing this thing about, the United States is the greatest country in the world. I'm listen, why can you say that? Have you gone to another country? Have you been to another place where you can say, because you don't know. I was saying that when I was a kid because I didn't know. But as an adult, I would like to go to other countries and see how these people live, how other people live, and then I can make an assessment and say, you know what? It is the best country in the world, which I know is not. But, people have that perception that this is the best country in the world, and they don't go outside. They say that this country doesn't have racism, and racism is right there in front of their faces. But white people don't like to admit that.
This country has racism.
Wrong,
Yes.
They try to justify and say, "How could I be a racist? My friends are black friends." That doesn't mean anything.
No, proximity doesn't.
No.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're right.
No, I hear you. And you know what? People should go to other countries and they should find out. And our nation has the potential, based on the Constitution that was written by some very flawed men, to be forever changing and to be great. We just haven't quite gotten there yet, and it's not looking so good. Okay, we have the potential
to be great for them.
We have the potential to be great for everybody. We just don't want to.
I know that, but what I'm talking about, when they wrote the Constitution of the United States of America, they didn't write it for everybody. When they said, we all created equal, because if we were all created equal, we wouldn't have had slaves.
They couldn't live up to it. They couldn't live up to it. And even Jefferson knew. If you go to his memorial in D.C., he knew that there would be a time when there wouldn't be, and he knew he couldn't live up to it. It says it all over the freaking wall on the memorial. He did not have the personal integrity or whatever it takes to realize, live up to the ideals that he wrote. But they did write it so that it could change and grow with the people. It's the people, the white people.
Well, they're still benefiting.
But we're still benefiting, and we won't stop.
Right.
It's us.
As long as we keep perpetuating, well, not we, as long as these white people keep perpetuating this myth that black people, brown people are beneath them, this is going to continue to happen, and they're just afraid that pretty soon they're going to become the minority. And
it's going to happen.
Oh, absolutely. It's
It's
already
gonna happen.
happening. It's already happening.
Exactly.
And they're just afraid we're gonna that black and brown folks are gonna treat us as the
Exactly.
minority like we treat them.
Exactly. That's what
That's
the problem is.
because they feel guilty and they feel bad. But anyway, great points. Absolutely.
Thanks, Gio. Talk to you later.
Thanks for calling in.
All right, Alex, I'm calling. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you, sweetheart. Bye. Yay. You got a call. Now can I hang up? That's good. Oh, there we go. Absolutely. There is a lot. There's a lot going on with all these issues. A lot going on. So there's cultural proximity. There's wealth. Yeah, you can be a wealthy black person. You're still discriminated against. Like, I mean, my God, we know the story about Oprah when she was in Germany.
Yes.
Oh my, we know there's story after story after of black judges and people being. I mean, my God, do you remember one of President Obama's aides was moving in at night?
Yep.
That young man, oh my God. And he like,
Yep.
God. I mean, you cannot escape it. I don't care how rich you are. You can't like wear it. You know, I'm rich. No, but obviously the poorer you are, the worse it is. There's like a symbiotic relationship with this capitalism on steroids and racism, systemic racism. It's quite crazy, but access to the nation is another reason. There are other reasons, but the huge reason is because we, just like in the United States, we don't see black and brown people as full people. I'm just saying the truth.
No, it's the truth. You're not saying anything wrong. And what Talanda is saying, you're right. Anywhere globally, even in Africa, trust me, colorism.
Oh my God.
Colorism and white supremacy.
Whitening is a huge zillion-dollar industry. Trying to be white, making yourself white. You're not born white, but you like make yourself white.
While the Kardashians is trying to be black.
Good point. I mean, it's everywhere. The whole shock and awe. Wars that have shock and awe get your attention. People who are starving over a long period of time, well, it's kind of boring. That bores us.
Right. But that's the thing. But this is the thing about Africa. They always want to show the little kids with the bloated belly, and they always want to show where, you know, the depravity of it or the poverty of it. But there's places in the United States that look the same way and worse. They never show the good parts of Africa.
I have a video.
You have a video? Okay, go ahead.
No, I didn't mean to cut you off. No. I have a video on my bad.
Oh.
I have a video on just that topic.
Right.
I have a video of 15 different countries in Africa, and I show pictures. Do you know where this is? Do you know where that is?
Exactly.
Nobody gets it right.
Nobody knows where I've been to Africa.
Little mud hut. They're like, well, that's not a little mud hut. In some places, there are little mud huts.
But that's because that's the way it's just like, okay, little funky little trailer parks that's back there in Alabama and Tennessee, the Appalachian where they were sleeping with the cousins and all of that. Those people, what? Let's be clear about that. There's places still in the United States that do not have running water.
Absolutely.
So let's stop playing that game.
Right. Absolutely. So yeah, I should put up that video, and there's some incredible cities, and you know, the bottom line is we like to other people, and we like to make it so it's okay that that we don't tend to their needs, and we say to each other, we say ourselves, white folks say this to themselves. We say, well, they really don't care about their children that much.
Right.
We really don't, care about life. We do whatever it takes to dehumanize them. I'm just saying, I'm a white person. I know what,
right,
goes around here. The poorer they are, the less they matter. So,
right.
Yeah, I want to show, do you want to add anything now that I've cut you off?
No. I mean, you're right. I just want people to understand the reason why you got to remember, when you have somebody in your business, in your house, tearing your house down every time you build it, starting wars in your house and doing all these, you don't get a chance to rebuild. America has completely decimated parts of Africa, South, Central America,
Many nations. Yeah, we've done
many
this.
of brown nations that they've done this to.
Other nations have done it too. It's not just
Right, exactly. So the thing about it is, like I said, they don't want you to see the good parts of Africa. You know why? Because they don't want you to go over there.
Watch my
That's
video.
it.
Watch my video that I have on. I can't bring it up fast enough, but watch my video on 10 different thriving countries in Africa. They're amazing. You will want to visit. You will want to go there. Mr. West Black. It's parts of Africa that are thriving better than Ukraine and other European nations. Absolutely. But the thing they're missing is all the white people. I'm missing something here. Something just got. Who's your badger? Was just going to say that Pat W. We already have 46% of the registered voters controlling 54% of the legislation seats. White GOPers continue the rate system to control it, even though they're. Oh yeah, that's a whole other subject. Yes. Gotcha. I would like to show this video because I thought of all the like 20,000 videos that I saw today, yesterday, and the day before, this one was kind of like the best. I think I got it from Anastasia. I'm not sure.
Let's do it, baby.
Before that, I wanted to talk about these Western outlets and their racist news coverage. I have heard like they have no shame. Oh my God.
None.
I mean, like, damn. And then the apology, don't even get me started. Racializing the language. Oh my God. It's not it isn't a place, with all due respect, like Iraq or Afghanistan. Oh my goodness. It's a relatively civilized place, you know. It's like,
right.
Oh God, that's like old-fashioned stuff.
Right.
So you can hear a lot. I can't believe that dude went with blue eyes and blonde hair. I'm like, Jesus.
Oh, I believe it. I believe it.
And the use of the words third world, underdeveloped. You guys, this is all purposeful. This is all purposeful to devalue our fellow human beings. I'm sorry. It's not good. So I'm going to show the video. It's kind of a long one. And then take any comments, and hopefully Anna will have something to add at the end. No pressure. But before, once again, Anna brought to my attention an article. And I'm going to put the article. Where am I going to put the article? I'm going to put the article up right here. Share the screen if I can, which I think I can. I can. Thank God. And I don't know if you can see it very well. It doesn't look so great. But U.S. bombed Somalia amid Russia's invasion of the Ukraine. You do not, in fact, have to choose between American and Russian imperialism, wrote one anti-war reporter. The correct choice is to detest and resist both. And this is an ongoing horror in Somalia. And we bombed people, us Americans.
Yep.
While we're talking about the Ukraine that you didn't know, huh? I didn't
find out somebody said it.
I didn't.
So and I was like, bomb Somalia?
Yeah, I'm like, dang. So I'll be posting that up on my Facebook page. Amber's Talking Around Facebook page, where I can post stuff. So jump onto there if you care to see that article. And with no further, this video is a little bit strange to see, but I'm going to put it on anyway. Check it out. The best one I've seen, and I've seen a lot of them, and not best in the sense that it really explains it well, but it's hard to take if you haven't seen it. All right, let's do it.
Crystal, what are you taking a look at?
Well, guys, there's a couple of clips going viral from news coverage of the war in Ukraine, and the reason so many people, I think, are watching and reacting to them is because they really seem to give up the game on something really central to the media's coverage of Ukraine. Namely, why are they so deeply concerned for the victims of this particular crisis, in contrast to the indifference or outright contempt displayed for the victims of any myriad of other crises around the world? Let's take a look.
Now with the Russians marching in, it's changed the calculus entirely. Tens of thousands of people have tried to flee the city. There will be many more. People are hiding out in bomb shelters. But this isn't a place, with all due respect, like Iraq or Afghanistan that has seen conflict raging for decades. This is a relatively civilized, relatively European, I have to choose those words carefully too, city where you wouldn't expect that or hope that it's going to happen. So it's partly human nature, but they are not in denial.
Me, I'm sorry, it's very emotional for me because I see European people with blue eyes and blonde hair being killed, children being killed every day with Putin's missiles, and his helicopters and his rockets.
And so, of course, I understand and respect the emotion. What you are outlining there is this tension between longer-term efforts to apply pressure to Vladimir Putin, such as financial sanctions, and the very immediate military threat which you're experiencing.
Now the unthinkable has happened to them. And this is not a developing third world nation. This is Europe.
This is Europe, civilized, blonde-haired, blue eyes. In case you didn't get it, an op-ed in the Telegraph wants to make it even more clear for you, writing, quote, "They seem so like us. That is what makes it so shocking. Ukraine is a European country. Its people watch Netflix and have Instagram accounts, vote in free elections, and have uncensored newspapers. War is no longer something visited upon impoverished and remote populations. It can happen to anyone." All just seemingly a bunch of different ways of trying to say, oh my God, they're killing white people. Now, these reporters and analysts clearly expect that the white American and European majorities will care more about the humanity of these particular victims because we share similar levels of melanin. And that is certainly part of what's going on here. After all, you do see some countries right now opening their arms to the white refugees of the Ukraine war while closing their doors to those from Africa and the Middle East. It's easier to otherize people who don't look like you or have different cultural practices or traditions or religions. But melanin solidarity is not actually the real story here. Playing to a shared racial and cultural identity, it's really just a tool. It's a means to an end that the news media is using to persuade Americans that they should care more about the people in this conflict than in any number of other conflicts that they are not covering whatsoever. This is a classic case of the phenomenon Noam Chomsky and Edward Herman describe in Manufacturing Consent, how the media picks worthy and unworthy victims, choosing which stories, protests, wars, famines are worthy of coverage and worthy of displaying the humanity of the people impacted, and which should either be ignored completely or actively demonized. And the deciding factor here is not actually race or culture or which continent the events happen to be unfolding on. The deciding factor is which narratives are most convenient for the U.S. government. Just ask yourself this question. Why was it that for decades of the Afghan war, the Afghan civilians killed by the U.S. state were considered unworthy victims? Then, for a brief period during our withdrawal from Afghanistan, suddenly Afghan civilians were worthy victims. And then the news media cared deeply about the fate of the women and girls who would live under Taliban rule. Then, just as suddenly, now that there is a mass famine caused by our own cruel theft of the Afghan government funds, Afghan civilians are once again unworthy victims. The ethnicity, cultural practices, and level of development of the country did not change. What changed was which narrative was convenient for our state. In fact, within the very same country, at the very same time, some victims were deemed worthy and covered as such, but by the media, while others were not. So victims of American drone strikes, unworthy. The Afghan girls' robotics team, worthy. All because of what the U.S. state wanted highlighted and what they wanted suppressed. It's disgraceful how the corporate news media is happy to manipulate Americans' most noble humanitarian impulses and channel them in directions that are convenient for U.S. power. And you can see this dynamic playing out right now all over the world. In our own country, within liberal media, COVID victims have frequently been given worthy treatment, while victims of drug overdoses have been given unworthy treatment. Looking around the world, Cuban protesters and Hong Kong protesters were given worthy treatment since they were opposing governments that our elites don't like. Chilean protesters and Palestinian protesters were given the unworthy treatment because the U.S. state did not care for their causes. Perhaps the most glaring discrepancy right now is between the way that the Ukrainian war is being covered and the way that the Saudi war in Yemen is being ignored. In Yemen, the U.S. has been backing our ally, Saudi Arabia, in a proxy war that has left the Yemeni population starving and completely desperate. In fact, Yemen is currently considered to be the world's worst humanitarian crisis, with millions of children in danger of starving to death. But since the U.S. is complicit in causing this particular war and its attendant mass suffering, you don't hear a whole lot about it. On the contrary, for all the flaws of the media's coverage of the Ukraine conflict, and there are many, they have gone out of their way to treat the people suffering there with humanity. I've watched beautiful videos and read heart-wrenching stories about refugees grabbing what they can and fleeing by the hundreds of thousands, about families hunkered down in parking garages, terrified for their lives and the lives of their children, about young men suddenly thrust in the middle of a war with a hastily issued government weapon and zero training. The play to tribalism. These blonde-haired people are just like you. They watch Netflix. That is a technique used in the manipulation, an effective manipulation because, yes, of very real problems of racism and tribalism. But it's not actually the root cause of that manipulation. The reason they want you to see these victims as the fully worthy human beings that they are is because they're opposing one of our most significant global adversaries. Now, some make the opposite mistake of thinking that since the Ukrainian suffering is convenient for the U.S. state, that we should not care about it whatsoever. So let me be totally clear. What's being done to Ukraine by Russia is horrible, and it is heartbreaking, and it deserves to be covered with humanity. I don't want the coverage of Ukraine to have less care and empathy. I want all wars to be given this same treatment. This is also not a call to stop covering the conflict. I believe the stakes for the world of what happens in Ukraine, as we've been laying out here today, are very, very high. We are witnessing a global great power realignment in real time, which will shape our world for decades to come. We are also watching in real time as the worst voices in American politics try to draw us into a war with a nuclear power. Those are serious, consequential topics with global implications, and they deserve thorough consideration. But when the media tries to convince you of the righteousness of a particular cause because of the humanitarian considerations, just remember all of the millions of humanitarian considerations that they care absolutely nothing about. Or, as in Palestinians, that they go out of their way to be on the wrong side of. This is my plea to you, to always remember that while we should care deeply about the humanity of the Ukrainians who are suffering, their lives are not any more worthy than those of Yemenis, Afghans, Syrians, and all the peoples of the world in war-torn countries and far beyond. And Sagar, you know, I think it's important here to...
She said a lot. She said a lot.
Yeah.
Like I said, hey, you're back.
I'm back. I got to learn to mute without disappearing. I just thought that was the best one. I can't believe that. What? Oh my gosh, what is it? I got to find his name again. That who was it that was driving and he was pulling over? That's Kingston.
Kingston.
What a compliment. That made my night. Just don't crash or something, but that is incredibly sweet. Seriously made my night. But yeah, she said a ton. She said it well, and based on all the stuff I've been watching, she kind of said it. You know,
well, white supremacy will use anything under any tools under the umbrella to get what they want, and capitalism. Because the thing about it is, we know that we've been in a slightly cold war with Russia anyway. So if we get them out, you know what I'm saying? We are a global power. And that's what the whole thing is about. I understand everything. Racism is a tool. White supremacy is the thing. Because if you don't know anything about Neely Fuller Jr. said, if you don't understand white supremacy, you don't understand anything about the world. Racism is groups of people fighting for power and wealth. And those things come under it. So, like I said, you know, when we're talking about things, you have to look at it from a money and commodity. Black people could have been orange people as long as we could have been used as a commodity. We could have been other white people. Because let's be clear about that. White people enslaved other white people. And they do it all the time. Under the feudal system, under the serfdoms, and all of these things. So let's not forget that even within Europe, they were doing the things that they do here. It's just that those people could run away and fit in somewhere. We don't fit in because we're so wonderful and stuff, you know. Our bling blinging.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's the bottom line, isn't it? And I had a class in college that went into this, and Noam Chomsky was actually one of the main people that was quoted and read about in that class a long time ago. Don't even ask, a very long time ago. And yes, they had telephones then, and yes, they had cars to be quiet. Okay, but the first thing they said was, you can cover up your accent. Oh, it's not nice, but you can. You can tell people. You don't tell people your religion. You can do that. I'm sorry. You can hide your sexuality. You can hide you guys, there's stuff that can be done. You cannot hide the skin tone, and that is where they get us. And it's a whole nother ballgame. So do you want to jump in and add anything else before we say goodnight to everybody?
No, I think we've carried it. I mean, we did a really good show. And thank you so much for all of the people. And Gio, thank you so much for calling in. And that's the thing. We want something interactive because it gets boring. Racism is boring. Let's be clear about that. Racism is boring. And us doing these shows is every week is clearly depressing. But we do, I can speak for myself. I do it because we need to make sure there's people out there saying something different that's not filling into this BS that, it's never going to change. So we're just going to stop. Hell to the no. It's an old saying. I'm going to fight you till hell freezes over. And if there's any more injustice, I'm going to fight you on the ice. So get your skates. And that's how I feel about it.
I'm just so pleased with the people. All our friends are here, and our new friends and old friends, and it really, really makes a difference. Talking about this, and who's your guys? Thank you so much, and Mr. Russ Black and T and Pat and LaDonna, everybody. I'm skipping everybody, of course. Mr. FS Black. Oh my gosh! And I want to give a special thank you to my Anastasia.
Hey, I want to, Pat. They are still classified as white. Hispanics or Latinx people are still considered as white. But this is what I'm going to tell you, Pat W. They fought to be considered as white. A court case. So that's all I'll say about that.
The way I look at it is whenever we need to put people to war and we need extra bodies, all of a sudden they become white. It's all about making money and us and
facts.
But if you believe like I do that it is way past time for white America and people in historical numerical majority groups to learn cultural competency and start caring. We got to care about our fellow humans. Then please consider subscribing. I am on many platforms, and Anastasia is amazing. Thank you. So
thank you.
Friend, I love having you.
Can I do a shout out to my bestie?
Absolutely.
My bestie, LaDonna. We were stationed in Germany together. She is amazing. She's so amazing. I love her. She knew my daughter when she was like 12, 13 years old. And LaDonna is one of my best friends. Thank you so much, LaDonna, for coming.
Oh, and that's so sweet. Yay. Thank you for coming, LaDonna. That's awesome. Love it. Adorable. Well, we will see you hopefully next Wednesday. Remember, you can grab a hold of me if you want to through my URL that I put up there. And Anastasia, do you want to say anything about how people can contact you? Or
I be in these streets. That's how they contact me. They're gonna say I'm in these streets. But my Facebook is Anna, ANA Capri, CAPRI. And I got a burner account, Anna Black Power on Facebook. Like I said, I be in these streets a lot, but the next time we do this, I will definitely drop my stuff.
Okay. Thank you so much. Good night, everybody. Stay safe.
Good night, everybody.
Wonderful audience. Thank you.
Bye.
Good night. Bye.